Welcome to the No Hype Zone. In this video, I'll show you how I use the CML Trade Machine Pro Today tab for quantitative options trading's ideas and alerts. Be sure to check the description for all my trading resources. Now let's get started. All right, so let's dive into Trade Machine Pro. I am on the Today tab. You've probably seen some of my videos where I talk about the backtest tab, but today we're going to talk about the Today tab. This is an active tab of signals, if you want to call them that CML has come up with for various situations. So just to quickly walk through them, we have Bollinger buy the dip, that's Bollinger Band, MACD momentum, buy the sell-off, long strangle, fade the dip, buy the dip, bullish burst, bearish burst, pre-earnings calls, I've said that one, pre-earnings 7-day call, pre-earnings 14-day call, and we have some other ones down here. So the way this works is that when the market's open, if any of these signals are happening on various stocks, it's going to display them here for you to consider as something to trade. Now, I would never just blindly take these things. I like to do my own due diligence, and I'm going to show you how I do that right now. So what I'm seeing today, first of all, let's take a look at the overall market. I'm doing this video, it's about 11:30 in the morning. The market, SPY, is gapping up, and hopefully this little 6-7% correction is over and we can get back to easy bull money, but we'll see what happens. But anyway, the overall market is bullish. So this makes sense that a lot of your bullish plays are happening. So you have buy the dip, bullish burst, fade the dip, right? That's still a bullish strategy. Pre-earnings, diagonals, and you also have some pre-earnings calls going on here. So what's catching my eye is that Twitter is showing up in two of the, and I'm air quoting, signals, buy the dip and bullish burst. And you can see that over the last 8 signals, we have 5 wins, 3 losses. Down here, we have 7 wins, 3 losses. But the gains here are pretty significant. When you total up the gains on your risk, and we'll see this in a second, this one has made 450% about how much you're risking or how much your capital you're allocating with these. These are call options, which we'll see here in a second. So what you can do now is before you quote unquote take the signal, all this is telling you is that, hey, this buy the dip signal is signaling today, and that by the end of the day, you could consider taking this trade. Remember, they use end of day options pricing. So these are kind of like a heads up, like, hey, by the end of the day, this signal could be valid. So then what you do is you click on the stock. It's going to open up a new tab where it actually shows you the technical setup that they've come up with. And everything's written right here. Let's look at the actual technical open. But before we do that, you can see that I think this goes back the last couple of years. It's a long call. It's a Delta 40 call that has 30 days to expiration. And you do a 50% stop and a 50% limit. So you're basically 1-to-1, you're risking 1-to-1, and it's got a 62% win rate. And this is, some more, you can click in here and see the previous trades and all that stuff. Let's see here, the average winner was $571, the average loss was $262, and again, the 62% win rate. So you can also see the P&L curve. This goes back, usually they're doing these about 2 years. But let's go ahead and look at the technical setup here. And this is what's happening as of 11:30 when I'm recording this video in the morning, is that the stock is crossing up through the 200-day simple moving average, right? So we've obviously been in some kind of pullback. It must have been below the 200-day yesterday. And then the stock is above the 10 EMA, and the RSI is below 70. The way CML sees that is that if you had a really high RSI, it would consider it overbought. So it's saying, hey, the dip seems to be over and we're not overbought, so let's look at buying some calls. That's their technical setup. So now it's your job to determine, do I want to take this? Does this make sense? So what I would do is then go to the chart and just kind of get a glance using the way that I look at technical analysis. And I'm looking at Twitter here, and I can see a couple things that, Twitter did make a new high and then did make a new low. So there's kind of this broadening formation here. I look at some momentum type stuff. I'm not going to dive into these indicators. I'm going to put everything in the description, by the way. So CML, I use LuxAlgo here. I'm using TradingView. I'm going to put all my resources there if you guys want to check those out. But we are seeing the Twitter bounce today. We do have earnings. we're getting some bullish volatility. The oscillator is turning back up, a little trend turn here. So, if you do draw a trend line, you'd probably end up, let's call it in the $68, $69 level. So there is some room to run if the market can kind of hold it together, which right now the VIX is down 7%. So to me, this looks pretty valid. I'm going to wait and see, because I don't like chasing gaps and things. I'm going to wait and see what it looks like at the end of the day to see if we fade. Because again, CML uses end of day data. So most of these signals are implied that they were taken at the end of the day. So I like to wait till the afternoon. So we just looked at the buy the dip indicator. So let's go ahead and look at the bullish burst signal, which is a little bit different. But again, it's also telling us that Twitter is experiencing this technical setup. So again, I go over here. So remember the first one, 62% win rate, 30 days to expiration. And you're buying Delta 40 calls, 50-50 stop and target. And then here it's a little bit different, 14 days to expiration. And they're using a 60% stop, 40% limit, which kind of makes sense because when you do a shorter or lesser target, 40% over 50%, usually your win rate increases. So they're optimizing this for Twitter for 70% win rate, 7 and 3. And that's why you had so much gain. So it's a little bit different. The calls are a little bit cheaper with this one because it's only 14 days. If you look at this one, the risk is a little bit more, and it's a lesser win rate. So at this point, you can say, okay, let's say I do want to get long Twitter and I want to buy Delta 40 calls. If I want to risk less, I could go with this version, buy the Delta 40 call for 14 days to expiration and use this stop and target order. And again, this had a pretty good win rate. So that is, basically what you can do with this. So the other signals we're seeing today that I was interested in was fade the dip. It's a little bit different. These buy the dip, bullish burst tend to be call options like this with, 2 to 4 weeks expiration. But I'm actually looking at Walmart, and Walmart, it's had 7 wins and no losses. So this is not a huge amount of gains, 138% gain, but 100% win rate. So let's click on Walmart. Let's just get a gander at what this is doing. So this is going back about 2 years, and it is short a put spread. Makes sense. You're selling a put spread where you're selling the Delta 40 and buying the Delta 30. So that's a slightly out of the money, probably 2-strike wide put spread on Walmart. So we can see the chart right here. This was probably yesterday, but here's the P&L curve the last couple of years, and you're taking profits at 50%. So again, let's go back to the chart. Let's go to Walmart, and let's see what we're seeing. So Walmart, been retesting the 136 lows. It pulled back with the market, but it is rallying. It does have earnings. So let's see what the time frame on that one was. This was a 30-day, that was Twitter, excuse me, Walmart, 30-day spread, and that may lead at November 7th. No, that would be over before. So again, a Delta 40 put would probably be around, see, it's 140, probably 139, 138, 138, 137, somewhere in here you're selling a put spread, probably close to the bottom of this candle. I'm not going to get into the option chain. I really just wanted to kind of show how you can use CML Trade Machine for trade ideas. And before you take the trade, you have plenty of time because, again, all these signals are based on end-of-day data, and it's sort of preempting you that this signal could trigger, if you will, by the end of the day. But it is up to you to use your own due diligence about which ones you would want to take. You wouldn't want to take all of these because if this is a gap and crap, then you're going to have a lot of losses. So you really want to vet these out. And the other thing you want to do is make sure that the tickers you are choosing are very liquid. I typically just lean towards the ones that I know the names: Walmart, Under Armour. We have Starbucks, PayPal, Nike. I'm not sure what these other ones are, T-Rex, so, you may want to vet out the liquidity before you, kind of focus on that. The other thing you can do is let's just see what the NASDAQ's doing. So that's going to minimize, the amount of trades that are shown. Classic oversold. Here's some more stuff down here. Peloton. I do recognize Skyworks as well. And you could also just look at, the largest 500. That's probably more S&P. So, you can adjust these a little bit to see what you want to see with your universe. Either way, that's one feature of CML. Again, check the description for more details, and I'll see you at the next video.